When it comes to manifestation, sleep is so important. It is super importante, but yet nobody talks about it. Most of the YouTube community at large constantly talks about different techniques. They constantly talk about different patterns and different approaches to manifestation. And everything involves you consciously doing it when yet your consciousness is the gatekeeper to your subconscious. So typically, when you're doing a lot of things awake, when you're doing countless techniques awake, when you're trying to make movement happen, when you're trying to notice movement, all of these things are consciously done. Yet, the subconscious is only imprinted during a certain window of time. Yes, through sheer repetition, you can imprint it in your conscious waking hours, but it is far easier to do it just as you drift off to sleep. Yet, so many people, since I've started this platform, so many people come to me and they say that they just don't do it. They forget to do it. They don't think they can do it. They're not good at it. That's why I think affirmations are so popular because people think that, oh, well, if I do this for 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, this will take over my programming that has been installed in me for decades. This will take over all of my thoughts. If I have somewhat between 75 to 100,000 thoughts a day, me making affirmations, repeating affirmations for 30 minutes, 45 minutes will overwrite the other 12, 13, 14 hours that I'm awake. 16 hours, in fact, since typically most of us get 8 hours of sleep. So the other 16 hours, let's say you're affirming for 30, 45 minutes, but what about the other 14, 15 hours? What were you thinking about? That is why mental diet is important, but more important than that, sleep. What you take into sleep is what's going to manifest. Now, if you had a day that was full of trigger moments, complaining, focusing on lack, focusing on a third party, focusing on what you don't have, and you take that into sleep, now you have 7, 8, 9 hours of time for the subconscious to plant the seeds in order to bring that to fruition. That is how important sleep is. Those 30 minutes that you spent affirming mean nothing towards those hours you spent doing the exact opposite and then falling asleep watching Netflix. Speaking of that, what you fall asleep to is super important. Super important. There was an era where I was around people who would fall asleep to true crime. If you came to Sunday service or WCW before, you've heard me speak about this ad nauseum. I used to be guilty of it. I would fall asleep to CSI, the Las Vegas edition. I didn't like CSI Miami. I thought it was a little bit cringe. And the other ones didn't have any character to it. But I used to fall asleep to CSI Las Vegas, Gil Grissom and his partners and them. I used to fall asleep as a kid to Unsolved Mysteries, Robert Stack. Remember he had that very eloquent voice, that very lovely, moody voice. I didn't have the balls to fall asleep to Alfred Hitchcock. That scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. But nevertheless, falling asleep to these gentlemen will induce a lot of fear into you, into your waking days. You'll wake up and you'll wonder why you are mistrusting of people. But maybe you won't wonder why. But days, weeks, months, years might go by and you'll have a mistrust for people, especially you ladies out there. You have a mistrust for your safety when you're going on a first date. And why is that so? It's not necessarily because the guy made you feel bad. It's not necessarily always because the guy or the girl made you feel unsafe. It's because you've been falling asleep to horror movies for years. It's because you've been falling asleep to The Ring 1, The Ring 2, Saw 1, Saw 2, whatever, A Quiet Place, whatever ghost movie. Whatever, it's like 1,000 ghost movies, and people fall asleep to that stuff. You fall asleep to true crime stuff. You fall asleep to dating shows. Sleep is the door into heaven, said Neville Goddard, because that is when your subconscious is getting imprinted. You're entering into a theta state, you're waking up in an alpha state, and that is when the subconscious mind is open for business, baby. So back to the setup here. The setup is, what are you doing during the day? Yeah, you might have started off your day with your affirmations. You might have did a little mirror work. You might have started off your day scripting. You lit a candle, had yourself some fruit, some highly alkaline food, went on with your day. Later on, maybe you start checking Instagram. You got a little bit triggered by SP. Maybe you're checking your email looking for that job, looking for that announcement that you got a job. It's not there. Maybe you keep checking your bank account. Is the money there? Is the money there? Is the money there? Now you spent the latter half of your day triggered. You turn on TV to a little escapism, numb your thoughts, fall asleep to that. You have just undid everything you did in the morning, because everything you did for the rest of the day was taken into sleep. And that is what the subconscious goes to work on while you're sleeping. Not trying to scare you, just trying to wake you up. No pun intended. Because it is this crucial 5 to 10 minutes as you're drifting off to sleep. What you're thinking about is going to come to fruition. So why not train yourself to become a little bit more disciplined? Put the phone down. Don't fall asleep to content every night. Put the phone down and think about what you want to experience. Do this every night as you go to sleep, 5 minutes as you drift off to sleep. And now you are taking that into sleep as your last thought, and your subconscious mind goes to work on connecting all the dots for you for the next 6, 7, 8 hours while you're sleeping. You couldn't have made it any easier than that, right? How could it be any easier than that? Now, for those of you that accidentally fall asleep, guess what? Right when you wake up in the morning, before you grab that phone, before you reach for that Android, before you reach for that iPhone, as soon as you become awake, but before you open your eyes, go into your scene. Go into your scene. That is open for imprint, open for business, is the subconscious at that time of day. So you have a little bit of a window, because Neville said a state akin to sleep. That is a meditative state. So that state can be arrived at once you wake up, and it can be arrived at as you fall asleep every night. Do this for me. Promise me. I can't hear you, but you can hear you. Promise me that you'll be more mindful when you're going to sleep. And for those of you who are students, for those of you who are bookworms, for those of you who want to learn another language, for those of you who want to memorize something, if you have important speech coming up, write it out, record yourself saying it, whether they're study notes, whether they're your speech for an important business meeting, or maybe a pitch to a new partner, some shareholders. Maybe you have an important test coming up. Maybe you're a lawyer and you're getting ready to take the bar, or maybe you're a doctor, you're a physician, you're getting ready to take whatever physician's exam that you need to take. Or if you just have a good book that you want to absorb, turn that bad boy on while you're sleeping. I'm going to do another audio on the Kabbalion, one of my new favorite books. And you know what the weirdest thing that happened? This is something I really couldn't fit into the episode, but the weirdest thing that happened was this. I didn't understand the Kabbalion for about a year. I tried it. I threw on a couple audiobooks and I was like, I don't get it. This stuff's hard body. This is heavy stuff. Like, what is this? I decided one night about a month ago to listen to it while I fell asleep. Actually, I just was listening to it and I fell asleep. When I woke up the next morning, so many dots started connecting. I understood the book all of a sudden. I understood how it connected to Neville. I understood how Neville connected to the Kabbalah. I understood how the Kabbalah connected to tarot. Like, all of these dots got connected just because I fell asleep to the book. So you can imagine the epiphanies I had as I was making the episode. You can imagine the epiphanies I had as I was reading the book in my waking hours. Epiphany after epiphany after epiphany. Finally seeing all these dots connected just because I fell asleep to something that can benefit me instead of something that can hinder me. So I challenge you to do the same thing. Start falling asleep to things that are going to help you. Program yourself. Look at it as you're basically a computer. Your brain is a computer. Your consciousness is not. Your consciousness is downloaded from the cloud. But that's another topic for another episode. But your consciousness is downloaded, and your computer is the brain itself. It is the hard drive. So start downloading content as you're getting ready to reboot for the night, which is your sleep phase. Think about when you install a program on a computer. I know for some reason I ask people this and they just seemingly forgot. I guess because technology now you don't have to do this. But back in my day, back in my day, you had to reboot that bad boy. Windows 95, hello. Windows XP, remember that one? You put a program on there, you had to reboot that bad boy. Why? Because there were new things that were installed within the operating system to get the program to work fluidly with it. So you had to reboot it in order for it to register. And that's what we're doing. You're getting ready to go to sleep every night. You're installing a new program, which is you with your significant other. You're installing a new program, which is you married and not single anymore. You're installing a new program of being the husband and being the wife. You're installing a new program of being a millionaire. You're installing a new program of being an entrepreneur. You're installing a new program of being healthy, fit, low body fat, all of that. Whatever it is, you're installing programs and you got to reboot. You have to reboot every night. So you might as well go into that reboot with a good, solid program that is going to serve you in your waking hours. Thank you for your time. You are neither here nor there.